how did we get here? How, Lord, how did we get here? That was the question that many Judahites were asking themselves while they had been forced to march into exile into Babylon. After almost 3 generations, memories of how things were back in Judah and how they got to Babylon were beginning to be lost. The nation was split. Some had been forced into exile into Babylon, and some forced into exile in place. And those that had been left behind, asked the same question. How did we get here? Now, a Persian king, you remember the story, Cyrus, defeated the Babylonians. And the people that had been brought to Babylon from Judah were to be reunited with their own people back in Judah. Cyrus had decreed it. Well, at least he allowed it. God used Cyrus, a king that didn't worship him as did the Judahites worship him. God used Cyrus to reunite the Judean peoples. Reuniting 2 peoples that had been divided for so long sounds wonderful. But guess what? None of them are really rushing into it. And it sort of makes sense. Those that have been forced to go to Babylon, now over there for 3, 4 generations, they had married Babylonians, they had Babylonian wives, Babylonian husbands, their children had been born in Babylon. That was their place now. And now they were to go back to an unknown. Those who had been left behind in Judah had their own lives. They had farmed and rebuilt some. And they probably were wondering, I hope they don't want their ancestral home back. A divided people cannot stand. That's why Babylonians, when they invaded, only took part of them. A divided people cannot stand. Then we hear this from Isaiah, from 2nd Isaiah. Isaiah is a long book. The first 40 chapters were written by 1 or 2 voices before the exile. Chapters 40 through 66 were written by different voices during and after the exile. But we have this today. This message from God to the Judahites and to us. For I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in what I am creating. For I am about to create Jerusalem as a joy and its people as a delight. There's more. But in that passage, what we hear is children won't be born dead or die shortly after birth. It is estimated that at this time of writing, only 1 in 4 births resulted in one of them going into adulthood. From 2nd Isaiah, we hear that mothers won't die during childbirth. Oh, we take so much for granted. And children won't be raised to die in wars. Wouldn't that be a great thing even now to have in our own time? 2nd Isaiah says, people shall have enough. The prosperity envisioned in 2nd Isaiah's time wasn't about personal wealth, but communal wealth. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, the lion shall eat straw like the ox. This is all about living in harmony and living with those things that can harm us. As Dr. Corinne Cavallo, a professor of theology at St. Thomas University in St. Paul, says, God's blessings from 2nd Isaiah are seen when the poorest and most at risk among us live to a ripe old age. This is creation. It is not just one event. Dr. Cavallo continues that this creation, based on the meaning in Isaiah, is that God continually creates. Creation is God's ongoing activity, which is what we heard this morning from Dr. Godson. That ideal world is being created new every day. God's creative word turns the profane into the holy, which is God's territory. And I'm going to add this. There isn't, I'm going to use the other word, there ain't nothing we can do to stop it. There is nothing we can do to stop God's creation. But we can and are called to join in this creation. This passage from 2nd Isaiah invites us here and now to join into the creative event. We are challenged to consider how our experience of God's holiness, as Dr. Cavallo says, changes the world for us. We may not feel a great need to domesticate lions, she says, but what would the world look like if children did not die from disease or gun violence, if adults had complete access to the best medical care, and if everyone earned a livable wage so that their work was not in vain? How did we get here? That's our question today. This country is so polarized. 2 camps in exile from each other. Then, as did the ancient Jews, we hear, for I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind. How are we, who are the eyes, ears, feet, hands, and mind of Christ, how will we experience God's holiness in this event of creation every day? Will we deny it because it doesn't fit our political agenda, or because that's the way we would do it? Wouldn't do it if we were God. The scripture given us today by the lectionary is so rich. We just sang Canticle 9, the Song of Isaiah. Surely it is God who saves me. I will trust in Him and not be afraid. If you trust your salvation, to Donald Trump, or to Hillary Clinton, or insert name here of another human, whoever happens to be your favorite human, I can guarantee you disappointment. Because humans disappoint. Even if they are saints and float above the ground by an inch, they will abandon you. If nothing else, because humans die. How did we get here? Some of you voted for Donald Trump. Some voted for Hillary Clinton. Some voted for a third-party candidate. Some didn't vote. And some don't care. I've talked to friends from both camps. Those that voted for Donald Trump that I personally know. This is friends and family. They are not monsters. They are kind, gentle, loving people. Those that I know who voted for Hillary Clinton, friends and family. Not a lot of family. But I will tell you that they too are kind and gentle people. Political rhetoric is toxic, damages our fabric of life. And I don't think God looks the other way when we say mean, hurtful things about others and to others just because we are in the heat of a political campaign. The rhetoric was horrendous. So what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? We are a house united, or divided. We need to be a house united. Our trust as Christians is in God. This piece of furniture, which is much more than a piece of furniture, is how we're going to get through this. Donald Trump is the President-elect of the United States. I, for one, and I call upon all of you to support this man as our President-elect and as our President when he takes office. That's what we do. For those that voted for Hillary, I understand your grief. But we have a new person other than Hillary that is going to be president of these United States. We need to support him. Where he errs, we need to let him know. Where he succeeds for all the people, we need to let him know. And all the elected leaders. We can't be spoilers. For the people that voted for Donald Trump, congratulations. Let you relish in this victory. And I ask you, as I ask the other side, where Donald Trump gets into error, let him know. Let all the political leaders know. Where they are successful, we need to let them know, support them. I believe that's our calling as Christians. A house divided cannot stand. When we see injustice, it shouldn't have started now. It should have started years ago. When we see in our lives, when we see injustice, we are to call it out. then there's other things that we should have already been doing as Christians. The church is always late. And I'm sort of tired of the church apologizing 50, 60, 70 years later for something they should have done. Let's not be late this time. Let's forge new relationships with other churches, with churches that are primarily of people of color. Instead of only worrying about it on one day when something tragic happens. Forge relationships with people of other religions. The people of the mosque. The Jewish congregations. There's deep pockets of poverty within 2 blocks of the doors of this church. You can't lay that on Donald Trump. You can't lay it on Hillary Clinton. They're there. What are we going to do about it? Just sit and wring our hands? That's not what Christians are called to do. We are called to bring in those who are marginalized into our midst and love them. We can celebrate our differences and acknowledge them. And we can celebrate our similarities. The lecture that Dr. Ghazi gave this morning was uplifting. He called us flashes of light. Each one of us is a flash of light. And we are here to bring a gift. To bear God's presence to others. In thought and word and deed. This altar is where, if you can just sort of look at it and close your eyes or imagine all those flashes of light circling it. Not just the ones in the past, and not just the ones here now, but the ones that are yet to come. We are called as Christians, as Episcopalians, as Saint Franciscans, to do something more than to live in toxic rhetoric. I don't know how God creates something new every day, nor do I need to know how. All I know is that we are connected. All of us, all of those people, we are connected. And God is calling us. For Christians, it's calling us through Christ to serve, to take action in helping others, to get beyond our differences of whether the Federal Reserve should up its percentage or decrease its percentage. So I give you that challenge. What are we to do with God's holiness? That place that we find God's territory. That is our gift. these are words. Words mean nothing if we don't put them into action. I feel it's our time. All of us. The winners, the losers. I hate using that term in church, but if that's how our culture around us is going to put us, that's how I'm going to use it, so we know what we're talking about. All of us are in this together.
Amen.
Let's do something with it for the glory of God and for our salvation. Amen.
Amen.